Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about 5 easy and supplement-free hacks to help yourself out with some allergies. Yeah, the allergies are really kicking up right about now. I actually thought about filming outside today because I thought that would be fun and interesting, and it's raining here in Seattle, so inside it is. But I'm sure everybody who has allergies who's in Seattle is very happy it's raining today because the rain will bring the pollen levels down, which is lovely. So, and then you can see I got my new Sharpies, which I'm very excited about. Give you guys a little bit more color interest. I even have them here. I'm very proud of them. Look at that. 24 colors. Crazy. I went from 3 to 24. So I tried to reel it in a little bit and not go crazy. Which I think I did an okay job, but it was very difficult. I really wanted to use all of them all over the place, but then you wouldn't be able to read what I was saying. So anyway, I digress. Yeah, today I just wanted to talk about, and specifically in the title of this video, I talk about reducing allergy symptoms. And I think that's really important to address right up front, in that in this video, we're really looking at the external kind of pollen and irritants that cause irritation, right? We're not looking at treating the cause, which is usually what I do from a naturopathic perspective. That's what I love to do. So I just wanted you guys to know that we're working on kind of symptom level, reducing irritant today, which still can be very helpful. But really, you know, if you're a chronic allergy sufferer, and it's a big issue for you yearly, it really is about all this chronic inflammation that's sitting in your body. And 90% of the time, for most people, that really comes from foods. So foods that are inflammatory, either food allergies or even processed foods. So the poor quality oils, the additives, the food colorings, all kinds of crap that ends up in food nowadays is really inflammatory. So just even modifying that a bit, I'll give you a little bit of the deeper level treat the cause here. Not a lot of instruction on how to do it, but maybe just some ideas. So usually diet is a huge part. For me personally, that I've noticed is a big deal. I have been sensitive to dairy since I was born, pretty much, but I grew up in Iowa in the Midwest, and there's a lot of dairy everywhere. If anybody else is from the Midwest, they know what I'm talking about. But so when I just had really bad allergies every year. I was on a few medications to deal with it. They thought maybe I had asthma, all kinds of crazy stuff. So turns out I was about 20 and started reading about food and food quality in college, and decided to take out some things. I had no concept of food allergies at the time. No idea, you know, what would help and what wouldn't, but dairy was one of the things that I took out, and magically that spring my allergies did not happen, which I was pretty excited about, since I'd been dealing with it since, since as early as I can remember, essentially. So I reduced my level of chronic inflammation down quite a bit, and it took my allergies away. So there is hope. It's just finding out what is causing that deeper level of irritation in your system. Sometimes it's not always as simple as foods. I do say simple, but I realize it's very difficult to make dietary changes. Trust me, I have done a lot of them over the years. So another thing is chemical exposure, right? All the kind of perfumes and fragrances that are in our atmosphere and that we're exposed to is a little crazy nowadays. Lawn chemicals, beauty product chemicals, soaps, all kinds of crazy stuff. So all of that is this inflammatory load that, again, your body has to deal with and clear out. So yeah, so decreasing all of that kind of inflammatory noise around you can really help decrease your allergy symptoms, because then you have more capacity, right? You're not full to the brim with inflammation, and then you've got this pollen on top that's going to kind of make these symptoms kind of explode, and we kind of look at it as like a bucket, right? Where we've got a bucket, it's our reservoir. We don't want that full to the brim where any next little thing is going to make it spill over and give you an issue. So yeah, so another issue, is possibly like chronic viral infections like Epstein-Barr virus, heavy metal exposure. Those are less common. Really, you want to focus on kind of diet stuff and chemical exposure to help bring those allergies down. Just getting rid of fragrances and air fresheners can be massively helpful, of course, because we inhale them, right? They come in through our main respiratory organ, sinuses, lungs, and then also our skin is a respiratory organ. So kind of looking into that could be helpful. But anyway, I will get on to the topic of today. So our 5 supplement-free easy allergy tips. Yeah, I don't like taking pills. I know most people don't like taking pills. I really like to focus on things that are easy to do, cost effective, and don't involve pills, because usually the supplements are just they're just kind of a band-aid, right? They're not actually addressing their cause. They're kind of helping you deal with things. And then this lifestyle stuff is stuff that you can integrate in, is self-care. It's really, really helpful overall, and it's going to be longer lasting than a supplement or a pill. Sometimes those things are necessary if there's a really big acute flare-up, but this is usually what I like to focus on. So we can take a look here. These are our 5. We'll start with the top. So rinsing your face and hair. This is a big one, right? If we think about being outside in the pollen, right? It's kind of all around us in the spring, and we see it accumulate, the yellow stuff on our cars. We're getting coated with that throughout the day. So it's really important. Of course, most people take a shower in the morning, and you do this anyway in the morning, but it's really crucial if you are an allergy sufferer to do this before bed. So because you want to get rid of all that pollen coat that's accumulated in your hair and your face, and rinse that off so you're not breathing it in overnight for about 8 hours or so. So it can make a really big difference. Face is great to start with, and then, you know, if you're a guy and you have shorter hair, you might not need to do the full-on kind of hair, but if you're a lady and you've got some longer hair, or even, you know, mine is short and it still ends up in my face at night, yeah, rinsing that out, especially, you know, you don't have to do the whole head necessarily, but maybe just the stuff right around the face can be really helpful in reducing that pollen so you're not breathing it in all night. Yeah, so that's the first one. Second is pillow hygiene. So again, we're talking about this kind of pollen coat that's settling, and it can rub off from our face and hair onto our pillow. It's also, you know, if we have any windows open, it's going to come in through the windows and kind of settle onto our pillows and our bedding and any other fabrics or surfaces in our home. So it's great to just use a pillow for one night, or the side of the pillow for one night. So you've got a fresh pillowcase on, sleep on it one night, the next night flip it over, sleep on it the other side, and then after that pop it in the dryer for 10 to 15 minutes on high to really get rid of the pollen. And then put it back on. Or you can just switch pillowcases, whatever is easier for you. The same is true for bedding. That's great. You certainly don't have to switch it every night, but definitely more frequently than you might do at other times during the year. So that's a really important one to remember. And then also thinking about all the other surfaces in your bedroom can be really important. I keep saying bedroom because that is the room that we tend to spend the most time in. And you know, we're breathing in for hopefully at least 8 hours a night. So by cleaning that up, you kind of get the most bang for your buck that way, in terms of reducing allergy load and pollen, so you're not dealing with it all night. So yeah, so that's a really important one. And I think that's it for the pillows. So pretty simple, straightforward, just a little bit more rotation in the mix to keep that as clean as possible. So you can just think about pollen accumulating and how we're going to keep that from accumulating too much around you and breathing it in at night. So number 3 is a HEPA filter, which is a lovely air filter. So HEPA stands for high efficiency particulate air. So it is a mechanical filter that it's got these tiny kind of mesh filter parts that the pollen gets trapped in. So it's really lovely. It's a great way to go for, especially in your bedroom. Again, that's the room that we spend the most time in, that we're going to have the most trouble with in terms of accumulating pollen. So usually I recommend people put it in the bedroom, and that really is the most bang for your buck, right? You can put it in other areas of your house, certainly, but you're probably not spending quite as much time in those areas. So in the bedroom is great. I will have links at the under this video for you for the HEPA filters that I like. I usually like Holmes and Honeywell. I think they do a really good job, and they have replaceable filters, which is wonderful. And then I'll also have it broken down for you by square footage, so for small rooms up to large rooms, and the price points for those are usually about like $45 for the smallest rooms, And I think the biggest is about 150 for like a 400 square foot room. And then I teach you about calculating square footage as well. So it is really important to get a filter that is the appropriate size for your room, because if you get one that's too small and you have a big room, it's really not going to be effective, and you're going to be like, why did I buy this thing? So HEPA filters are wonderful, not just for allergens, just for air quality in general. They can be fantastic. And a little bonus tip I like, I think a lot of people might be thinking, okay, an air filter is great, but it's so noisy, it's going to keep me up at night. And they have improved that, definitely, but I totally hear you. I am a fairly light sleeper at certain hours, so I'm pretty sure an air filter on all the time would drive me a little crazy at night. So the nice alternative is when you leave for the day, if you can, close the door to your bedroom and just plug it in there and let it run during the day. So it clears out all the pollen, and then you've got this nice kind of clean space to sleep in at night. And then I would also highly recommend not opening your windows during this high pollen season until your allergies are through, and probably just the window in your bedroom, because you just don't want all of that pollen coming in and accumulating. Even though it's nice and we want to breathe this clear, fresh air, just until the pollen comes down, it would be great to keep that closed. Maybe on a rainy evening, if it's kind of that light drizzle type of thing and you don't have to worry about the rain coming in, open the window, but or watch the pollen counts in general and see if it's a good night to have it open or not. But generally, it's nice to kind of keep that as clean as possible by keeping your windows closed. Yeah. Okay, so number 4 is the neti pot, which is very exciting. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the neti pot. I even have mine here that I brought to show you. I really like this kind of ceramic one. I've tried a few of them, and this is my favorite. I will make a separate video for you guys on how to use it. I'm not going to cover that here. That's kind of a whole different topic. But suffice to say, it's really lovely, right? It's a nasal irrigation tool. It's been around for centuries. And the idea is that you're rinsing out your sinus passages. So again, you're getting this pollen coat all along your hair and your skin, and then of course you're going to breathe it in, right? It's going to end up in your sinuses and your lungs, and I'm sure that you feel that throughout the day. So the neti pot is a really nice way to do a little bit of an internal irrigation and rinse. It really only takes about 5 minutes. For allergies specifically, again, you kind of want to focus on that end of the day time once the pollen is accumulated in your sinuses. Just once a day can be fine. If you want to do it multiple times a day, that's fantastic as well. You certainly could. Some people really like to do it in the morning too as part of their routine, but I would focus on at night and probably as close to bed as you can get. So you're really ensuring that the majority of pollen is washed out and is gone before you end up in bed for the evening. Yeah. Okay, so that is the neti pot. And then number 5 is one of my favorite things to talk about, is water. Just in general, water is fantastic. I did do another video on that about how much to drink per day, and a whole bunch of other kind of really neat things and facts about water and why we need it in our body. But I'll review a little of that here too, just that's germane to this topic. So water is key for moving inflammation out of your body. You have to be hydrated to move that inflammation out. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there, right? And that's the hard part, right? Is that inflammation kind of causes swelling to begin with. So I think a lot of people are like, why would I want to add more water? I already feel so swollen. That doesn't make any sense. But water is crucial for circulation. And we have to have proper circulation to be able to get nutrients to that area and move the inflammatory and waste products out. So getting enough water is super, super important. Just by hydrating yourself enough, it can really bring down that inflammation load, because then your inflammation isn't just sitting here, it's actually moving out through your organs of detoxification, like the liver and kidneys, and then if you're sweating, the skin as well. So water, really, really crucial to this lowering inflammation in your body. And usually, you want to shoot for, take your body weight, divide it in half, and that's the number of ounces you want per day, which sounds like a lot. But it is really, really helpful. It's fabulous. And you don't do that overnight. You kind of work up to that level, definitely. But it really can make a difference. And it'll make a difference in a lot of other things you might not have thought either. You might sleep better, better digestion, bowels moving more regularly, aches and pains lower. I know a practitioner who, she was an acupuncturist, and her main recommendation to her patient after treatment was just drinking a lot of water. And she's like, you probably don't even need treatments if you end up drinking enough water. And he came back in 2 weeks later, said he didn't need a treatment, and that his back pain was completely gone after he had started drinking enough water, which is crazy, right? Not everybody has kind of that night and day result with it, but you will notice a difference overall when you get enough water into your system. So yeah, so I think that is it for today. Pretty focused in on these allergy relieving tips. I hope that helps. I found these really helpful for myself and for my patients overall. And again, these are really more symptom-based guidelines to help reduce pollen exposure, but we also really want to get to that deep level inflammation. That's where you're really going to see a big shift, right? Is addressing where is this inflammation coming from that's making me react to the pollen, essentially, right? Because I still probably react to pollen a bit since I had allergies before, but my bucket isn't totally full to the top, right? It's not having this pollen come in and making it spill over into allergies with sinus headaches and congestion and fatigue and hay fever, all kinds of good stuff. I have been there. It's pretty miserable. So the idea is to bring down that level in the bucket. And this will do a little bit here, but definitely looking at those larger inflammatory pictures, right? Is it food? Is it chemicals? Those are the two big ones. So well worth your while to maybe take a critical look at that and tune in, and I think you'll be amazed at what might happen, what might shift for you. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much. We'll see you later.